Welcome to Removal Day. We have anybody excited about that? On Removal Day, 120 years. We're celebrating our 120th year anniversary. On behalf of the Baldwin County Commission, we want to welcome you out today. October is Archives Month, and for those of you that don't know, what we do, our job is preserving this county's rich and diverse history. So in recognition of Archives Month, we chose to highlight a collection that will shed light on a certain period in Baldwin County's history. And that period is the removal of the county seat that happened on October 11th, 1901. So October 11th of 2021 marks the 120th year anniversary. So we are very excited to have you all with us today. And I'm not going to hold you any longer. You didn't come to hear me talk. So we're going to move on with the invocation by Councilman William Taylor.
Good evening, everyone. Would you please join me in the invocation? Dear Father, we come to you today thanking you for this day. Thanking you for everything that you have done. Thanking you for a day that you have made especially for us. And we will continue to rejoice and be glad in this day. Right now, well, Father, we ask that you touch this Department of Archives and History. Lord, that they are lifting up the history of this city and this county today, that we might know what happened in past history. We ask right now that you bless the storytellers, that you lift their voice up, and that you touch them as they speak on this reenactment of the removal of the Baldwin County seat. And we ask that as the actors come forth to reenact the removal of the Baldwin County seat, that you touch them and lift them up and give them strength to do the very best possible job that they have ever done in reenacting this removal. And we ask that the spectators are here, that you let them see part of the history of this county, and let them take it with them and tell someone else about what happened here in Baldwin County. And we thank you right now, and we give you all the praise. Amen.
Okay, at this time, we're going to have the presentation of colors, the Pledge of Allegiance by Claire and Kaylee Doro, and the national anthem will be sung by Josh Howard.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
from here.
At this time, we'll have remarks from Wayne Dias, the county administrator.
Thank you very much. As you all know, Baldwin County's history is rich and colorful, a lot of culture. I believe things like tonight, this reenactment tonight, helps celebrate that and preserve it for our future children. As you know, as we grow in this county, it's more important now than ever to celebrate events like this. I want to thank Felicia and her archives team for all of this. I want to thank the city of Bay Minette for their continued support, and also all the reenactors who have participated. This is a wonderful night, and I hope you enjoy it.
This time we'll hear from a representative from the city of Daphne, Ron Scott.
In November of 1900, the Baldwin Times was located in Daphne, Alabama. And there was an editorial that was written, and I've been asked to read it. We are informed that the movement is now afoot to move the county site of Baldwin from Daphne to Bay Minette on the L&N Railroad, and petitions, pro and con, are being circulated among the citizens of the county. The proposition made by the people of Bay Minette is, as we understand it, to contribute the amount necessary to the removal, and that the taxpayers will now be called upon for any extra assessment. We have not examined the law on the subject, but we advise that a majority of the signers must be obtained to a petition for an act of the legislature calling for an election, which a majority of the legal voters of the county must then decide the matter. In this, as in all other matters affecting the interests of our people, the Times stands ready to give both sides a fair hearing. Maybe this is the first fair and balanced, I'm not sure. If the county site remains at Daphne, the Times will remain here. If it goes to Bay Minette or even to Polecat Creek, we will follow it to look out for the interests of our taxpayers. Thank you.
And with that, we've arrived at the moment that this all was really built for, the beginning of the reenactment of the removal of the Baldwin County Courthouse.
There's debate going on about how Bay Minette became the county seat. Well, on February 5th, 1901, the Alabama legislature passed Act 267, moving the county seat from Daphne to Bay Minette. Now, Daphne was the courthouse in 1868, when the rivers made it an ideal location for transportation. But with the extension of the new railroad in Bay Minette, guess what? A campaign spurred to move the county seat from Daphne to Bay Minette. This reenactment tells the story.
We'll now hear from the Honorable Judge Scott Taylor of the 28th Judicial Circuit Court of Alabama, serving Baldwin County as a Baldwin Times reporter.
Ladies and gentlemen, please gather around so that you can hear the facts from a trusted and reliable source, the Baldwin Times. December 3rd, 1900. Bay Minette gives many reasons why it should have the county seat. There are times when one wants to be alone, but at the present writing, everybody's kinfolks are together, and all are working for the removal of the courthouse from Daphne to Bay Minette, the coming metropolis of Baldwin County. There is no fair-minded person in the county who can deny the fact that it is to the best interest to the county as a whole for the courthouse to come to Bay Minette. Though, of course, there may be, and I am pretty sure that there are, people in some parts against us. But nevertheless, the movement has many ardent supporters, even in Daphne and southern portions of the county. In this part of the county, the writer has heard of but one man who opposes the removal, and he is a county official who thinks it proper to stand up for the present county seat. The more the matter is considered, the more reasons are brought forward for the removal. And to bear me out in this assertion, I give below some of those reasons. The courthouse should be at Bay Minette because it is nearer to the center of the population than any other town in the county. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because it is more accessible to the majority of the people in the county than any other town. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because by virtue of the above reasons, the county would save enough in mileage paid to witnesses and jurymen in a few years to build a courthouse. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because the citizens will sell land there and will invite immigration and thereby increase the population of the county 50% in a few years and add to the property value of the county more than this percentage, thereby reducing the taxes of the people. The county courthouse should be in Bay Minette because it can be located there without increasing the present tax 1 cent. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because this town has a natural advantage over any other town, thereby enabling it to do better, to a greater number of people than Daphne or any other town in the county. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because Daphne can never expect to be of any consequence in the commercial world on account of its location, while Bay Minette will soon stand side by side with such towns as Bruton, Evergreen, and Greenville. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because it has excellent railroad facilities, telegraph, and long-distance telephone offices, giving it instant communication with all parts of the civilized world, and which advantages are essential to the county. The courthouse should be at Bay Minette because it is now the largest town in the county. With the courthouse to add to its natural location and the opening up of the surrounding county, it would soon be a town to which the people would point with pride. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because it is the proper place for from a logical standpoint. And on the other hand, there never was a valid reason why it should have been located in Daphne. The courthouse should be in Bay Minette because from all of the above reasons, it is plain to see that it would cause dear old Baldwin to come out of the pines and the unsettled hills and plains and valleys to take on new growth of population, earning its livestock interest, developing its dormant agricultural advantages until it would veritably blossom as a rose. 3 cheers for Baldwin County when the courthouse comes to Bay Minette. 3 cheers for many poor people who would be given an honest employment from New Year's to Christmas for all time to come. 3 cheers for all the best possible move that Baldwin County could make. Do this, and but this and more than I have recited will come to pass.
And now Joshua Howard, the band director from Baldwin County High School, is the anxious voter from Daphne. I've heard a lot of talk down this way recently about the courthouse being moved from Daphne to Bay Minette, and I'd like to know a few things about it and to express my opinion on the subject. In the first place, how are they going to move it? Do you reckon they can dump the whole thing on an ox cart and haul it to Bay Minette, or will Russell Dick be engaged to take it up there 1 brick at a time? Also, if they decide to move it the first named way, if it should drop off the hind end of the cart while going up a hill, what do you do about it? Also, again, the law says no liquor shall be sold within 6 miles of the courthouse. If there's anybody selling liquor on the road between Daphne and Bay Minette, would the aforementioned dealers have to quit selling the stuff when the courthouse got within 6 miles of them, as the law requires, and stay quiet until it got 6 miles on the other side of them? These are questions that should be given serious consideration. For myself, I am against this scheme. Our courthouse now occupies a commanding position. It looms up over Daphne like the Washington Monument in a graveyard. Upon its steps, many of our leading citizens have squatted for hours during court week while their anxious gaze turned to the west, waiting for the boat that would bring them relief in a jug. Our courthouse has become the silent and true companion of the homeless goats, razorbacks, and other animals which have for so long gambled upon the green which surrounds it. Perhaps its present site would be turned into a cornfield, and these poor brutes would have to seek a new home. It would be cruelty to animals, and our next grand jury should indict everybody responsible. I believe the courthouse itself would cry out and protest if it could only speak. If taken to Bay Minette, a fence might be built around and other things might be done which would lead people who are not acquainted with us to get the idea that we're becoming progressive. There's a railroad up there too. Some of our Daphne friends might go to court and get run over or scared into fits by the locomotive. Bay Minette people are entirely too progressive, I hear, and have an idea their town ought to grow. They may put up some big business houses and do other things that show a worldly and sinful spirit. If we let them carry the courthouse up there, we would be encouraging them in their wickedness. And as a consistent member of the church and the Democratic Party, I'm opposed to all such newfangled ideas. Lawsuits are being filed against Han and the other commissioners, seeking a permanent injunction against the removal of the county seat from Daphne and the construction of a courthouse in Bay Minette. Now, the Honorable Judge Billy Joe Underwood, County Commissioner of District Number 3, a reporter for the Southern Reporter.
The act authorizing the removal of the courthouse from Daphne to Bay Minette was unconstitutional and void. Number one, because the provisions of said act were so self-contradictory and uncertain as to make the act itself inoperative. And number two, because the provisions of the 10th section of the act had never been complied with, so as to put the act into effect. The bill, as thus framed, was demurred to, the demurs overruled, and the case appealed to the Supreme Court. The cause was there considered, and the decree of the Chancery Court reversed, and the case remanded. After the case was remanded, the bill was amended so as to specifically allege the fact that the courthouse commissioners had never ascertained that the courthouse and jail could be built at Bay Minette upon the lot donated out of the subscription, the proceeds arising from the sale of the property owned by the county at Daphne, and such sums of money as the county could appropriate during the year 1901, without increasing the tax for that year, and affirmatively affirmed that, on the contrary, the courthouse commissioners ascertained that such payments could only be made by pledging the revenue of the county through a long series of years or by increasing the rate of taxation. The amendment in the 5th paragraph of the bill also charges that the act is unconstitutional and void, and that therefore the payments provided to be made by the county as purchased were not authorized by the act, and if made at all, had to be made under the act authorizing the removal of the courthouse. There were no requirements in the act approved providing for the removal of the county seat of Baldwin County.
Now, Matt Franklin from the City of Bay Minette, Council District 3, as a concerned Bay Minette citizen.
We, the people of Bay Minette, want this courthouse to be in Bay Minette, but we don't have time to go to Daphne for court. Our businesses are moving closer here, and if we seem, I guess, upset about this, we are. We want it here. The businesses here are growing, and we employ 2 engines all the time.
A very brief history of storytelling. Stories have existed long before recorded history, and the telling of the stories has changed forms drastically through the ages. And although the methods have changed, the desire to tell and hear stories has remained and still greatly impacts our view of the world. Storytellers rose to be important figures in every culture. The ability to tell stories effectively, accurately, and memorably is a valuable skill. Why? I'm glad you asked. As wars were fought and valiant deeds were done, the people needed a way to remember them. Storytelling emerged as a way to preserve the raw emotions and sequence of events of the actual event. History is just a series of stories that, when told correctly, inform, edify, and entertain. Every story serves a purpose, even if simply to relay a message. Without these stories, mankind would never learn from his mistakes, never dream to emulate the past heroes, and never see anything but the now. We would be clueless to the past and therefore helpless for the future. During this next presentation, remember the power of storytelling. Ladies and gentlemen, the removal of the Baldwin County seat.
You know, for way too many years, there have been too much false or misinformation put out about the removal of the courthouse from Daphne.
By the people of Bay Minette.
Correct. From Daphne to Bay Minette in 1901, 120 years ago. So I'm here tonight to correct the record and dispel any myths that you may have to the effect that the courthouse was stolen in the dead of night without authority.
No, it definitely was. But, you know, go ahead and spin your web, Bob. I got a cigar. I can wait a minute. That's fine.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to wait for your retort.
No, you're good.
You can look that up in a minute. What happened? What really happened? There was a process, a legal process that was followed. As you heard one of our previous speakers say, there were petitions that circulated throughout the county. And the petitions were 3-1 in favor of moving the courthouse from Daphne to Bay Minette.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of this. I don't believe it, but continue.
You heard it come from the Baldwin Times. You know nothing but the truth comes from the Baldwin Times.
I can definitely rebut that statement as a former employee there.
Did you work there?
I did, a little bit.
Okay, well then you know firsthand. And so after the petitions were filed, there was an act brought up in the legislature.
Oh, yes, because the legislature of Alabama always does such wonderful things.
Well, I'm not going to argue. Is Harry or any of them here tonight?
No, we're good. We're good.
We
They're
can
not
say
here.
whatever
Yeah,
we want.
we're fine.
Okay, very good. I won't argue that point with you, but it's on the books. It's an act that was passed in February of 1901 to move the courthouse from Daphne to Bay Minette under certain conditions. And so after that act passed, the courthouse commissioners who were appointed after the act passed proceeded to engage a contractor to build the new courthouse. And in fact, the courthouse was built and completed in July of 1901. However, the irresponsible rascals of Daphne refused to recognize the legitimacy of the proceedings and would not allow the jail that was in Daphne, because they had a lot of criminals down there, and the courthouse and the provisions in the courthouse to come to Bay Minette. And so the courageous leaders of Bay Minette took matters into their own hands and in fact went down to Daphne, I believe it was on October the 10th maybe, or 9th or 10th, spent the night down there, and the next morning removed the courthouse and brought it back. All done legitimately and with the approval of the appropriate authorities. Now, what do you have to say about that?
Well, Bob, I don't know who's blowing more smoke, you or me. Because it might have been, as you say, legal. There might have been a bill from your bought and paid for representatives up there in the swamp of Montgomery. But Alabama's had a lot of laws over the years that were legal. But you and I both know, and you are a man of the law, sir.
Was?
Well, I mean, can be occasionally. But this state has a law that says you can't carry an ice cream cone in your back pocket. Now, technically, that's illegal. But how many of y'all have done it? I mean, a time or two here. I know I have. Look, I'm a fat man. I carry ice cream wherever I can get it. But what you going to come back at me with, you going to say it's legal, because you've got an Alabama Supreme Court decision from 1900 something or other.
5.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. But here's the thing. Do you know how many times Alabama's Supreme Court has been overruled on stuff? You might know this one. You a lawyer. You might know it. How many times, Bob?
Very few.
Try 63. The only reason the U.S. Supreme Court didn't take this one up, they just didn't care. I mean, let's be honest. They didn't. But Bob, you're mayor of this fine city, and I love Bay Minette. It's a wonderful place. Can I ask you a question?
Feel free.
Bay Minette,
Correct.
where's the bay?
Where's the what?
Where's the bay?
The bank?
The bay. I have never
The
seen
bay?
a bay the entire time I've been here.
And you won't.
And that's
Last time I checked, the Bay had nothing to do with good government. Now, you might hang out down there with your cooler of Miller Lights smoking cigars, and that's all well and good. I'm happy for you, Cliff, but that won't do anything for the good citizens of Bay Minette, and that's what the people of Bay Minette are concerned about. Good government, serving the people, doing what's right.
Good
That's
government.
why they moved the courthouse up here. You heard the report from the newspaper. He listed all the reasons why.
Fake news. Fake news.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you work for them. You did say that.
Well, no, so I would know. Just ask Karen Wilson. No, I'm kidding. So.
I didn't know Fairhope was involved in this deal here tonight, Cliff.
Well, you know, as a representative, actually, while I'm here for Daphne's sake, I am actually a resident of the historic landmark district of Barnwell.
Well, there you go.
No, the good people of Barnwell. And
We had a lot of Barnwell people back in 1901 that were in favor of moving the courthouse up here. Did you know that?
I can completely believe
All the
that because they
Nelsons were
wanted
down
the
there.
law further away from them because we got some good stills out there in Barnwell. And y'all come on down.
I noticed you flinched when he said about moving the courthouse and any liquor sales within 6 miles.
I did pay a lot of
You
attention
kind of
to
got a
that part.
sick look on your
I did,
face.
a little bit. But now let's be honest, though.
I'm a lawyer. How can I do that?
Try real hard, Bob.
I'll work
Try
on
real
it.
hard.
I'll work on it.
I know. I'm going to pray for you. The center of population,
Correct.
it ain't up here.
In 1901 it was.
Yes, and in 1901, we all still had horses, and Teddy Roosevelt was president, and William Howard Taft was
Oh, the
weighing
good
a
old
clean
days.
300 pounds. Things have changed a little, Bob. But wait, what did y'all do after you stole the seat? What did you do? You did a thing. Oh, that's right. You got your bought and paid for people up there in Montgomery again to do a bill and work into the new state constitution because it had to be an amendment because you know our state constitution, there's the amendment to the amendment that amends the amendment.
I understand it.
Yeah, you're familiar. That no county could change its county seat right after y'all pulled this little stunt.
That's surprising. Since it worked so well for Baldwin County, you would think they want to do it all over the state.
But you made it illegal to move it back because you knew sometime in the future you might not be the big and bountiful city you once were.
Well, but you know, the problem at that time, remember we're talking about that time, Cliff. The people in Daphne were controlled by a few families, the O'Neills, Captain O'Neill and the Dryers. They owned all the property. They
Lovely
refused
people.
to sell
Lovely
it.
people.
Tried to get them to sell land for banks and hotels, be progressive, and they refused to do it. Instead, you heard the reporter tell you, they ran goats and cows in the courthouse. Look at all these fine people on our courthouse lawn. We don't have goats and cows grazing around here. How can you be progressive? How can you work for the people when all you worried about is having a pasture where your courthouse is?
I'm sorry, y'all don't like milk and cheese and steak? Ain't nobody fans of that here? Because I like having it on demand, and if it's right outside, that's just easier. Convenient. It was the early fast food. You just shoot a cow right outside the courthouse window. There you go, dinner.
I'm sure you could discharge firearms in the city of Daphne back then.
You probably actually could.
Yeah.
No. But I will say this, y'all did us a favor. You really did, and I'll tell you why.
We're glad.
You know what comes with being the county seat and having the courthouse? Somebody said it. Lawyers. So thank y'all for taking a bullet on that one, because I see about 20 different law offices just in this one little square alone, and yeah, we're good in Daphne. Y'all can have that. Thank y'all. Regardless of whether or not it was legal, and it wasn't. I'm going to look straight to camera on that one. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I think the people maybe deserve a little bit better than you and I can probably put together and try to come up with here. Maybe they need to to see it, you know.
See the enactment?
See the reenactment, maybe.
I think that'd be a great idea, but before we hand that
Because
off,
he's an attorney,
let me
he's gonna-
show
he-
this
yeah,
to
he's
the
always gonna
camera,
have
which
one
is
last
the
word.
Supreme Court decision in 1905 that said it was all very legal.
Yeah, the Alabama Supreme Court also said that segregation, slavery, and the Scottsboro trials were legal. So again,
And all that was
maybe don't hang your hat on
all
that.
that was overturned, but this wasn't. So we're glad the courthouse is here. And look, really, the bottom line is the county was trying to be progressive, and that's why the courthouse was moved. And the proof is in the pudding. Look how great Baldwin County is now. I rest my case.
I'll give you Baldwin County's great. But to have to schlep an hour up here for every meeting and court proceeding I ever had to cover, you owe me mileage.
I'll do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reenactment.
Thank you.
Was the law chasing down a fictitious killer during the late hour in which a group of Bay Minette men stealthily traveled 30 miles to the city of Daphne, stole the Baldwin County Courthouse records, and delivered them to the city of Bay Minette? Most of Baldwin County has heard the story of the courthouse being stolen from Daphne and moved to Bay Minette in the middle of the night. Did it happen in just such a dramatic fashion? Let's watch and see.
While the judge is studying the legal documents, I'm going to go ahead and set in motion the removal of the county courthouse to the city of Bay Minette. We're going to head over to Hand Land Lumber Company and obtain the deed to this large tract of land right here just north of the railroad tracks. And this would be a perfect location for the courthouse.
JD, you're absolutely right. I believe that's the perfect place for our brand new courthouse.
I, the Honorable Judge Hall, do hereby declare that no more documents will be received in my probate office in Daphne for recording, since the plaintiffs, and that's those folks from Daphne, failed to file for a temporary injunction to prohibit the move during the litigation. So it be ordered. Roll call.
I have in my hand Act 1900-1, number 267, providing for the removal of the county seat of Baldwin County from Daphne to Bay Minette. I will personally carry out this legislative mandate to remove the county seat of Baldwin County to Bay Minette. The new courthouse in Bay Minette is complete, leaving the physical location of the county records, books, and other property in Daphne is the only remaining implement in my plan.
I don't understand what we're waiting on. We've heard from the citizens. You have the law in your hand. Now it's time for us to act.
I agree. It's time for us to move on with this.
Sooner rather than later. We cannot move forward until we get these records from to Bay Minette.
I agree with everything you're saying, Mr. Blackburn, but what can be done about it? The leaders in Daphne will not release the records.
They don't have to turn them over. I say we just go take them. I have 8 big farm wagons with strong teams, and we're ready to go at 11 o'clock tonight.
That sounds great, Commissioner. I'm in. Me, and I know others who want to help. We'll meet at Irwin Livery in our buggies. I've heard a lot of townsfolk talking about this, and they all want to help. We should have plenty to do the job.
This is what we're going to do. You two go visit Abner Smith from the Baldwin Times newspaper and see how much information you can find out for us. While you're two visiting with old Abner, the rest of us will camp in the woods east of Daphne.
Yeah, you know that loudmouth Abner. He tells everything. We'll be able to get any information we need out of him.
It's for dang sure.
We won't move until we get a signal from you two.
My memory serves me correct. That night, Senator Hall and J.D. Hand came to our door and asked us to put them up for the evening. And of course we did. We also offered them dinner. And while we were eating dinner, I did ask them what was their business. And they did tell us that they were there to remove the records from the courthouse. And that's exactly what they did.
They sure did. They spent the night out in the woods, made camp, and early the next morning they got up. They wanted something to eat, so I fixed them a great big breakfast. Next thing we knew, they were down there getting the records.
My name is Russell Dick. I work down here at the county courthouse and jail. My job is to operate the water supply system. In my hand right here is official bid of a copy of the official bid that I gave to the county commissioners of Baldwin County for my job down here. I was working the day that they came to get the records, and that was a day, I tell you.
On Thursday, October 10th, 1901, Hand notified his men to prepare to travel to Daphne to load up the county records and property. At 7 o'clock p.m., 13 double-team wagons and a contingent of Bay Minette men divided into well-provisioned military-style companies and departed for Daphne. The march continued until 2 o'clock a.m. Friday, when they group-struck camp 4 or 5 miles from Daphne to await dawn. At first light, Hand and Company C moved to within 1 mile of the courthouse. The advanced guard proceeded to the building. Commissioner Hand will lead Company C to the jailhouse located behind the courthouse. But wait, they ran into one more major problem, and that was the sheriff.
This courthouse is in Daphne. It will not be moved to Bay Minette. Daphne today, and it'll stay in Daphne as long as I'm sheriff of this county. Sir.
I have with me here Frederick Richards. He's been accused of breaking into Mr. Lee's house down in Hurricane Bayou. We need to get into this jail so we can place him in custody.
All right, sir.
Sheriff, the legislators granted us the right to remove these fixtures and everything, the cages and the jail.
Oh, no, What's that? Don't read to me.
To provide the removal of the county seat of Baldwin County, Alabama, from Daphne to said county to Bay Minette in said county.
Where'd you get this?
That's the act that we're referring to.
And let me tell you, sir, Mr. Hand, we have filed a lawsuit to prevent this, to ask for the permanent placement of this courthouse to stay in Daphne, Alabama.
Yes, sir, you did, and our lawyers responded by the suit by filing a demur to the bill of the complaint, since the trial judge has not ruled the county seat is moving to Bay Minette.
We are authorized by Alabama State Legislature to take these here records.
Even if every fact that you alleged is true, the city of Daphne has no standing to overrule this complaint.
This is absurd, gentlemen. I've got the petition right here.
It doesn't matter. We're going to move this courthouse to Bay Minette.
You going to lock him up or not?
I'm going to take this prisoner in because he has been caught and he needs to be locked up in the jail, and I'll deal with y'all in a minute.
Stand by.
Step in here, sir. Whoa, wait. What are y'all doing? Hold on. Y'all get out of here. What are y'all doing?
Y'all get everything, man. Y'all get the hinges, the doors. We're going to need it all.
This is absurd.
Sheriff, I told you we was moving this courthouse and jail back to Bay Minette.
I'm going to lock all y'all up in here, and here y'all stay.
Well, you're outnumbered. You better go get some help.
It would never do for Mr. Hand to be locked up behind bars.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Hand. I am outnumbered right now, but I want to let you know I will be back because this courthouse is going to stay in Daphne, Alabama. I don't care what you do about what you do tonight. I will return.
When you get back, it'll be in Bay Minette.
Yeah, I will see about that, boy.
Get gone, Sheriff. Get gone, Sheriff.
On the other side of the jail were 2 steel cutters from Company D who were not admitted into the jail when Mr. Hand went in. As the sheriff opens the door to let Mr. Hand out, the door opened wider and the 2 cutters slipped in. The men began to disassemble the jail.
Y'all take everything. Take the windows, the bars, the door, everything. We cannot proceed until we get the new jail built in Bay Minette.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. Let's go, guys. We got everything we need.
All right.
Once the wagons were loaded, the men set out on their way to Bay Minette. A few men remained in Daphne cutting out the jail cells. The prisoners were removed from the new section of the jail and transferred to the old part and locked up securely. Every movement of the courthouse move was done in a businesslike manner. After the prisoners were safe, the steel workers who were specially secured for the occasion went to work on the front door, and in a short time it was cut out and placed in a wagon that was waiting in the courthouse yard. Every door was then removed from the cages and placed in the wagons, and by night were well on their way to the county seat in Bay Minette. After the physical relocation of the county seat, all county offices were kept in Bay Minette, and all terms of court were conducted here. In the decision announced December 19th, 1905, Alabama's highest court reversed the Chancery Court's decree of August 31st, 1901, dissolved its injunctions, and rendered the case in the defendant's favor. The decision declared the removal of the county seat from Daphne to Bay Minette legal. The Daphne or Eastern Shore plaintiffs had no further recourse in the courts. The L&N Railroad had achieved its goal of placing another county seat on its main line between Montgomery and Mobile, and J.D. Hand's plan was unequivocally successful. The legislature named Bay Minette the county's new center of government on February 5th, 1901. Now, you have the truth. The removal really did happen in dramatic fashion, but none of it happened in the dark.
Our MC and narrator, Mr. Josh Howard. Mayor Bob Wills. He's played the part of Leslie Hall, the attorney for J.D. Hand and the Board of Commissioners. Mr. J.W. Kramer, anti-removalist from Daphne, Cliff McCullum. The Baldwin Times reporter, the Honorable Judge Scott Taylor. Come on. Hey, y'all come on out. Judge Charles Hall, the Honorable Judge Harry Doley. A Bay Minette citizen, Councilman Matt Franklin. Commissioner J.D. Hand, Chief of Police Al Talbert, City of Bay Minette. And his lovely wife, Miss Madihan, Tina Covington, City of Bay Minette. Mr. J.B. Blackman, Jesse Peacock. O.E. McMillan, played by the Honorable Commissioner Jeb Ball. Senator Daniel Hall, played by Al Thompson. The Sheriff of Baldwin County, George B. Bryant, Sheriff Hoss H. Mack. The editor of the Baldwin Times, Abner Smith, Craig Smith. Principal, Baldwin County High School. And his lovely wife, Pearl Smith, Miss Tammy Smith, City of Bay Minette. Sorry. Company C. This is Gerald Boykin, not Al Boykin. He is portraying Stephen Boykin. He actually accompanied the commissioners in the actual removal of the county seat. Stephen Boykin was his grandfather. Yes, he's a descendant. Frederick Richardson, Jesse Eichner. Mr. Russell Dick, Michael Curry. Mr. Russell Dick worked for the Daphne Courthouse, pretty prominent businessman in the city of Daphne. In fact, he pretty much owned almost much of Daphne, Russell Dick did. Southern Reporter, the Honorable Commissioner, Billy Joe Underwood. The Baldwin Times reporter, representing Daphne, Councilman Ron Scott. Okay, and our townspeople, Diane Matthews, Claire Doro, Callie Doro, Leanna Barnett, Tina Covington, and Commissioner Underwood. Did I miss it? And also, did I miss anyone? Our judges for the period of tie contest, Grant Blackmer, Johnny Biggs, and Ashley Jones Davis. Y'all give them a hand. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. I was just informed that Mayor Lejeune, the mayor from the city of Daphne, is with us. Can you come up forward and give us some remarks, Mayor? How are you?
I'm great.
Well, you decided to show up.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to have you in Bay Minette, the county seat.
Well, you know, Now, my understanding is they left out a large part of money exchanging hands between politicians and, and things like that to make that work. So it's funny that was left out of the reenactment there. But but thank you, Cliff, for representing the city of Daphne. Bob, good job. Although I think Cliff did a better job. Sorry, we're very there. But what a great event. I mean, I tell you, this is a great event, and we'll try to make sure we even the crowd out a little bit next year for the event. This is a great event, and great city of Bay Minette. We really appreciate how well y'all have handled the stealing of the county seat, and but Ron Scott, I wanted to thank him. I know he had to leave early, but appreciate him coming up. And we also have our president of the city council, Doug Goodland, here in the crowd. So just want to recognize him and everybody this month. I want to thank the county and the county commissioners and everybody involved and our archivists. And thank you so much for putting this on and teaching the history of what happened, although I think we do left out the money exchange of hands somewheres in there, but we'll, maybe next year we'll get that right. But I know we're waiting for the dessert contest, so I'm going to get out of here, and thank y'all again.
At this time, I want to thank the city of Bay Minette. They are partners of ours. Come on up, Tina. Mayor, anybody else from the city. I want to thank y'all so much. Chief Talbert, your guys, everybody from the city. This is a joint effort. Archives, we cannot, believe me, do this on our own because we're growing. But the city, they partner with us every year to make sure we get this event put together. So if you will, please give them the warmest round of applause that you can. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. And any descendants, we have calling all descendants of any of the courthouse commissioners, townspeople, any of the descendants here, please join me in center stage. And no cast, please don't leave. I'm not going to call your gifts out and waste people's time, but please come to the stage before you leave. All descendants, come up and tell us who you are. Come on. Any descendants? There's more. I see more. I see more. Okay, all descendants. If you are a descendant of one of the commissioners, the townspeople, anybody that helped move the courthouse, come up and tell us real quick. I'm excited. Descendants. Okay. And I'm going to pass the mic, and y'all can tell who you're a descendant of. You want to start over here?
My name is Lynn Hall Hardy, and I am a descendant of Leslie Hall.
I'm Albert Thompson III, and I'm a descendant of Albert Thompson, my great-grandfather.
My name's Grant Blackburn, and I'm a descendant of Uncle Joe Blackburn, who is one of the leaders of the one of the leaders of the companies that went and took the courthouse.
My name is Allie, and I'm a descendant of Stephen Boykin.
My name is Sierra, and I'm a descendant of Stephen Boykin. What do I do?
Descendant of Stephen Boykin.
My name is Gerald Boykin. I am a grandson of Stephen Boykin.
My name is Mackenzie Leggins, and I'm a descendant of Stephen Boykin.
My name is Bridget. I am a descendant of Stephen Boykin.
I'm Dwight. I'm a descendant of Stephen Boykin.
I'm his wife.
My name is Janetta Crook, and I'm a descendant of Stephen Boykin.
Good evening. I'm Travis Boykin, and Stephen was my great-grandfather.
Good evening, the city of Bay Minette. My name is Samantha Boykin, and I am a descendant of Stephen Boykin.
We want to thank you all for coming and thank your ancestors for bringing the county seat home. Stephen Boykin published a paper, just to bring that up, a newspaper, the American Banner, right here. in his home. He was a self-educated black man. The newspaper was published from 1899 to 1902. A copy of that paper is in the archives, and in the actual paper, it announces where he accompanied the commissioners down to remove the courthouse. So we have some really valuable information. He was also instrumental. In fact, he started the normal school here in Bay Minette. So again, we have some great, great history here in Bay Minette. Thank you guys for coming, and we hope to see you again next year.